Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Monkhouse.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's about thrill, you know, to look around and see so many faces familiar to me from the television screen. Some of you in the evenings. But then they get you before they get me. They book the audience before they book the celebrity. They do everything backwards at LWT, or TWL as I like to call it, because they do everything the other way around here. They actually came up with a title, An Audience with Bob Monkhouse, and then they sat down and tried to figure out who to get for it. Very bewildering. Yeah. And they were in a jam because Mike Yarwood turned them down and Rory Bremer turned them down. A shock of horror that went through them when they realized they were stuck with me for that title. And so I'm here, but I'm not fazed by that. I think British comedians generally, they've got guts. I mean, we've got guts. Bernard Manning has a gut, and Frank Carson has a gut. And I'm trying to conceal mine with this cunningly cut dress suit. I'm wearing a dress suit for this occasion because it is basically my working overalls, and has been for 45 years, 50 years. These shirts, or dress shirts, they cost a fortune to have hand laundered. You're in a hotel, they'll charge you as much as £10 to hand launder a dress shirt. And if you take it to the hand laundry yourself, it's going to be £5. I'm not going to spend that. I'd rather give my shirts to charity, and I do that. I get my soiled shirts and I give them to an Oxfam shop. And they wash them and they iron them and they put them on a hanger. I go back next morning about 75p. You've got to save money. And they let you do that because, I mean, I'm a comedian. I hate having to explain that, but I do sometimes. Often when I'm abroad, you know, and I meet people who've never been in Britain and never seen me, they say, what do you do for a living? I say, I'm a comedian. And, you know, if you say that, people always respond in the same way. You're a comedian? Tell me a joke. They don't do this to anybody else in any other walk of life. They don't say, you're a cartographer, draw me a map. They don't do that. They don't say, oh, you're a politician, tell me a lie. You're a gynecologist, take a look at the wife. They don't do that. This is, as you know, a question and answer session, and I'm going to ask you for questions. I should warn you, however, that I have a secret weapon. Don't make me use it. Is there anyone who has a question for me that they would like me to answer? And I see immediately my old chum Jeremy Beadle is waving at me. You are the king of TV surprises. So, have you got a question?
Well, I have, Bob, but I don't really want to ask it.
You don't want to ask it? Why is that?
Well, it's not my question. It was given to me by one of your researchers.
It was given to you. What is the question?
I was told to ask you, which is better, comedy or sex?
That's a good question.
Yeah, but it's not mine.
No, it's not your question. Well, then don't you ask it if you don't want to, Jeremy. No one has... No one has the right to force you to ask questions that you did not originate. Have you got an original question for me?
Thanks, Bob. Well, actually, can I?
Yes, please do.
Well, looking around me and seeing all these famous people in the audience, is there anybody here you wish wasn't here?
By a curious coincidence. Jeremy, you know, I'm thrilled and delighted to see everybody. The one or two people who couldn't make it tonight, we had word from the BBC that Martin Lewis can't be with us tonight. Now, that's the kind of good news we need more of on TV. Dr. Hilary Jones, whom I much admire. I do. I went to him to seek his advice on how to rekindle my wife's enthusiasm in the bedroom, and he said, have you tried chewing on her left ear while tickling her stomach with a feather? I said, my wife would hate that. And he said, wrong. And Jim Bowen has actually got a booking tonight. If this surprises you, you shouldn't, because... The success of Bullseye has meant his agent, Jim Bowen's agent, is now taking bookings for 1995, which, when you consider it's £2 more than he was getting last year, is bloody good, you know. So nobody, I can see nobody that I wouldn't say I'm delighted to see them here. Is there anyone who has a question in this direction? I see Sid Little.
Yeah.
Sid? I'm glad you pointed him out. I didn't know you turned up, Sid.
Well, we've got a...
No, I don't ask that question.
Why not?
No, I want to ask, which is better, comedy or sex? Oh. Well, it was a boring question.
Don't you know?
Hey, 30 years and he starts to ad-lib, huh? Working with you, what do I know about comedy? Sorry.
Well, working with you, him, what do you know about sex?
Yes.
I mean, in comedy, you're little and large, but otherwise, I've no idea. Well, somebody gave that question to Jeremy, he wouldn't use it. Which is better, comedy or sex? And I really don't have an answer, so who gave it to you? I do not know. I suppose there are obvious disadvantages and advantages. I mean, with sex, you don't have to wear a bow tie. But then, with comedy, you haven't got to fiddle with those manacles. In neither sex nor comedy do you want to hear someone shout, "Get off!" I think comedy is probably better because, well, you know, in comedy, a one-man show like this can be great, but it's kind of lonely, isn't it, with sex? And I've never had my microphone let me down. I've never had an audience close their eyes and pretend they're with another comedian who has bigger jokes. I don't know, and in comedy, somebody pays me, whereas it's the other way. Do I have any takers down this end of the audience at all? Anybody? Linda Robson, Birds of a Feather.
Hello.
Hello.
I was wondering if you ever train or work out to keep yourself so fighting fit.
You think I look fighting fit?
Yes.
Oh, I'm pleased about that. Well, that may be due to the fact I got in for press-ups. I promised myself I would do 50 press-ups every morning, and you have to build up to that. I'm not up to 50 press-ups. I'm halfway. I could do the press. Can't do the up. My wife and I, we are trying to diet. My wife has got to diet. My God, I took her to the opera last week and nobody would leave until she sang. Well, she eats her own cooking. She's the only person who will. And therefore she puts... Oh, she made something the other week. It was so disgusting. The cat covered it with kitty litter. She eats it. But some years ago, I gave her that book, The Joy of Cooking, and she got it confused with The Joy of Sex. She did. I don't know how she did that, but ever since at Christmas, she always serves up 2 turkeys in any one of 69 alluring positions. It wouldn't even turn on Bernard Matthews, believe me. I've got to diet because of my weakness, Linda, is animal biscuits. Do you know what I'm talking about? I don't mean biscuits for animals, I mean animal-shaped biscuits. I love them. I love them. They're not easy to get these days, but I had them when I was a little boy, and you bite the head of a hippo. Ooh, you know, it's really exciting. I love that. They come from Austria or somewhere. I got a big box. Cost me about £12.95 in Harrods food store, and it had all the animals in the zoo. And I was really looking forward to eating them, and then it said on the box, it said, "Do not eat contents if the seal is broken." And I looked in the box, and wouldn't you? How do you know? What a disappointment. Michael Ball.
Yes.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Looking very beautiful.
Thank you. So are you. I just wanted to ask Jackie this. Do you have any bad habits that you'll admit to, anyway?
That's your question?
Yes.
Well, since we know one another fairly well, yeah. You and me and Jack, you must know my bad habits. I have a habit of annoying her. But then I've had a lifetime of this. My first wife, I used to annoy my first wife so much. I used to do things deliberately to annoy her. I admit that. For example, in the mornings, I'd wake up. God, she hated that. She hated me. She grew to absolutely detest me. Once I fell asleep with a cigarette in my hand, and she lit it. And the house caught fire, and she told her children, "Don't make a noise, you'll wake Daddy." I have my... You know, Jackie blames me for things happening in her sleep. Jackie wakes up and blames me for what's happened in her dreams. She does. She woke up furious the other morning. She said, "In my dream, you were in bed with some slut." And I didn't say anything because in my dream, I was in bed with some slut. I had a bad habit for some years, Michael, of blowing my nose all the time on tissues because I had a continually streamy, runny nose. And then I found out I was allergic to Kleenex, which explained it. Well, better than being allergic to Andrex. Any other questions? Stephen Fry, what a delight to see you here.
Oh, thank you, Bob, if I can call you Bob, if I can. You're an awfully talented sort of chap. You act, you sing, you dance, you comede. Someone I think was telling me you do game shows as well. And you're very famous for your ad-libbing, but you don't, as far as I know, you've never done any improvisation. Is that something you plan to do? Ever?
Improvisational comedy? Mm-hmm. Well, I'm prepared to try it. Where better than now? And when better than here? Stephen, give me a subject.
A state agency.
A state agency. Give me a location where you wouldn't expect an estate agency.
Huddersfield.
An estate agency in Huddersfield. Now, give me a style, cinematic or theatrical.
Science fiction.
An estate agency in Huddersfield, science fiction. Now, give me something funny to do. Just ran you dry there, didn't I? I see members of the cast of my favourite sitcom, I think, ever in this country, Drop the Dead Donkey. No question from anyone there?
Yes, I have, Bob. Yeah.
David Swift.
Yeah, I have. Why are you
The
always
man
so...
who plays the title role in Drop the Dead Donkey.
Bob, just answer me this, please. Why are you always so damn nice? Why are you always bloody smiling? Do you ever get angry?
Well, that's a wonderful question from you, because the character you've made so real in Drop the Dead Donkey is so irascible. And yes, I do get angry. I do get bloody angry, David. People actually make me pro-nuclear at times. They say such ridiculous things that they drive me mad. I mean, you hear people say irritating things like, "You're not yourself today." What the hell does that mean? You're not yourself today. Next time somebody says that to you, "You're not yourself today," say, "Then why are you telling me?" People say hurtful things. They don't even know that they're being hurtful. I heard a mother say, I overheard this. She was saying to a 6-year-old child, "Do you want to be allowed to stay up and see Bob Monkhouse on television tonight or not?" And he said, "No." And she said, "Then behave." Names. Cute, twee names that are spelt in a cute, twee way. Nikki with 2 Ks. Jane with a Y in it. What's that there for? What's that there for? What's a Y for? Sadie, spelled S-A-D-E, and pronounced Sade. The Marquis de Sade, who was he? I heard a male dancer the other day said, "I'm Rick." It's spelled R-Y-Q. I thought, what a P-R-Y-Q you are, darling. Something irritates me that ladies love. Lavatory lid covers. Woolly lavatory lid covers. Men hate these. Why do you need them? You've never been in a man's place and seen one of these because a man doesn't want them. The reason, it's all right for you. The ladies are all right with you. You can have if you want a woolly little head, little cap, little candlewick condom on the lavatory lid, you have it if you live alone. Because when you sit down, your back keeps that upright. But the equilibrium of that lid is affected by that woolly hat. So when a man is standing there attempting to complete his business, it's 10 to 1. That damn thing will crash down in midstream and everything will go everywhere. So he's got to hold that up while he's trying to do what he can with his foot, keeping it upright. The only really good thing that woolly lavatory lid cover is for is ripping it off and using it as a mop. I had a wonderful time co-presenting the Big Breakfast Show with Gabby Roslin. Is there anything about me you'd like to know but you're afraid to ask?
Yes, there is, actually.
I saw your hand go up a moment ago.
When you did the big breakfast, you kept it pretty clean, Bob. But usually your act is very sexually orientated. Why?
Don't force me to use that secret weapon. You don't know how effective that is. That's not sufficiently unkind to worry me. I'll tell you why sex does creep into my thoughts. Watching television, you cannot... Nature does this to me, Gabby. You watch it, David Attenborough, any program on animals, and they're all sexually motivated. That's all they're doing, eat and sex. Do you see the one on mountain goats? Yes, then you saw those big mountain goats, the male mountain goats get about, I don't know, 30 feet from one another or something, and they run as fast as they can, they bam, they smash their heads together. Now, why? To get the woman, to get the female mountain goat. Bam! I can't even remember wanting sex this badly. Bam! I mean, I'd last one bam. Bam! Oh, that's it. That's okay. Oh, you take her. You take her. You're a bigger goat than me. You have a boy. Oh, boy. Oh, tell her I got a headache. Birds have it bad. Birds... Chickens are lucky, because if they lose weight, it doesn't show in the face. But... birds... Golden eagles. You see that one? Golden eagles mating? No? It's fantastic. If you didn't see this, the golden eagle has to mate at a great height. The female and male fly up to above a mile. And they mate in flight, which means they can't fly. As soon as they connect, they can't fly anymore. So they drop like a stone. It's the truth. And they have to complete the mating before they hit the ground. And it's not unknown for them to, bam, hit the ground and die. So committed are they to the mating ritual. Now, I don't know about you ladies, but I'd have thought about 30 feet from the ground, you'd consider faking it, wouldn't you? Yeah? I thought as much. Oh, Michaela.
Are you an animal lover? Because we're not sure by what you've just said.
Well, yes, I am, Michaela, and of course you're very much associated with animals with your television show. I have a cat called Sydney. I haven't brought him with me. I don't bring him to London because there's animal rights activists about and he wears fur. They'll squirt him with things like that. He's a beautiful cat, and I love him, but I must say I draw the line at paying the kind of crazy money. We have a vet locally. He needed cat x-rays. Cat x-rays cost £35. Did you know that? I'm not paying £35 for a cat x-ray. That's ridiculous. Took him down to Heathrow and shoved him through security in a hole there. Took a little Polaroid, it was fine. No, I'm very fond of animals, Michaela. I get quite angry about the testing of perfumes on animals, even octopuses, because you see, they've got more wrists. I do not believe, I'm totally opposed to the testing of cosmetics on animals, because you don't want to open a lipstick and find dog hairs on it, do you? But my daughter says that we ought to be vegetarians. I can't manage vegetarianism, I'm afraid, but she has persuaded me not to eat meat that died violently, which I think is... We now eat meat that died accidentally. We have a shop locally that specialises in meat that died accidentally. Last month, they had this cow that fell downstairs. And they were expecting some salmon in that got hit by a boat, apparently. Very good. They got hundreds of lemmings. I don't like them. They got some chicken that crossed the road at Brands Hatch that... and they've got a pair of golden eagles in any one of 69 alluring positions. So far, I haven't had to use my secret weapon, and I'm glad of that. I feel fairly secure. There so many nice and kind, friendly people here. Barbara Knox.
Yes. Now, you're the man I think who could answer this for me. It's quite serious, really. But do you think show business puts extraordinary strain on a marriage?
Oh, yes. I think any job that takes you away from your spouse does that. I was away from my wife 2 years ago, yes, 1992, for 12 weeks, 3 months abroad, and I got back to Gatwick, and I phoned her to say I'm coming home from the airport. And I picked up the phone, and it was shaking in my hand. And I thought, I'm afraid to speak to my own wife. And I put it down, I tried to sort it out in my mind. And I realized I was afraid that she had made a regime for herself, a daily routine, in my absence, and I wouldn't fit back in. And so I pulled myself together and I spoke to her eventually, and she was so loving, she was so affectionate on the phone, that I drove home faster than I should have done. I stopped for some red roses and some pink champagne. That's how soppy I was feeling. And I got to my house and the front door wasn't closed to me. It was wonderful. And sometimes we need these reassurances in our relationship. The front door was wide open to me and my wife wasn't waiting downstairs for me, if you know what I mean. And it was a wonderful welcome home. Well, I don't want to go into details, but she was upstairs waiting for me. And if you follow what I'm saying, don't look as if you do. The front door welcomed me in and my wife was, well, I'll be specific, she was in the bedroom. I mean, well, she was on the bed. I mean, how clear do you want this? I'll spell this out for you. She was spread-eagled on the bed. Wrists tied to the bed head. I said, we've been learning some saucy tricks. She said, we've been burgled, you stupid bastard.
Candid Camera, secretly filming you in unexpected situations. Presented by television's comedy host, Bob Monkhouse.
Well, I want you to try and imagine now that you're a garage mechanic and that you've got to fix the engine of a car. Well, what happens when the car hasn't got an engine? Jonathan Ralph from the Candid Camera team removed the engine from an ordinary car. Roll the film now and you'll see just what happened when John and his friends slowly spun the car down the road. They had to get it started by pushing it towards a garage. Remember, the car had no engine in it, but he was just going to drive it in. It would look like an ordinary car to the garage mechanics and ask for some petrol.
It's not ticking over once you've got it going.
I can't even get it going at the moment.
We haven't got a mechanic here. This is just a filling station. There's no mechanic here. It's just a filling station.
We just drove in for some petrol and,
You don't seem to be able to get it going.
No, can you just look and see if it says anything?
Has he filled you up?
Yes, he filled us up.
Well, you're not getting anything, are you? You're not getting anything, are you?
I don't know, it's,
What's your bonnet?
Too much for one man. He goes off. Now he's going to have a summit conference. All the boys in the garage get together, and they come over to the car. They have a long look in the bonnet. They have a long think about it, and then they come to an important decision. This is it.
There's no engine in it.
1959. Amazing, isn't it? That long ago. What did you think, Jeremy? Because it's kind of close to your line of country.
It is, in fact, if you talk about Candid Camera, that is certainly the clip that everybody remembers. But I wondered who the Liberace host was.
Do we have any questioners? Eamon Holmes.
Thank you, Bob. Serious question, Bob, about an increasingly used term, political correctness.
Be careful, I have a secret weapon here.
Sure, Bob, certainly. How aware of it are you, and have you or would you change your act to accommodate it?
PC.
Yeah.
I think every comedian has had to absorb some of the very reasonable precepts of political correctness, and I understand it if I say something about two Pakistanis walked into a pub that someone will shout racist, and that's fair enough. And if I say my wife is only good for the washing up, they shout sexist. But now I think they're going, the lunatic fringe is kicking in. Now, you know, I say Nigel Kennedy came up to me this up, violinist! You know, I can't. So, where does Tarbuck get his jokes? Archaeologist! But I imagine that you're asking me from an Irish point of view, because, you have suffered a great many jokes. How do you feel about Irish jokes? Do you object to them?
No, I personally don't, Bob, no.
See, well, now, 10 years ago, it was OK to say, did you hear about the Irish skydiver who died when his snorkel and flippers failed to open? Don't laugh at that. That's racist. Your laughter is racist. You're not allowed to say that anymore. 10 years ago, I could say, why is it blacks have all the rhythm when it's the Catholics who need it? You can't say that. Gypsies, you can't make jokes about gypsies today. Ah, the life of a gypsy. Only a true Romany knows the joy and satisfaction you get from rinsing your berries in a cool flowing stream. You can't say anything about any country. You're being xenophobic if you do, and being racist. You can't even criticize France. France! They get on my throat in bits, the French. I'm sorry, they do. I dare say all this will be cut out. I get so fed up with the arrogance of the French, I get fed up. If there's anyone here who's French, I'm sorry, but I don't like you. What are they on about? What's that Channel Tunnel for? What is that for? We've spent billions of pounds, like £9 million. Who wants it? The French want it. We don't want it. The French want it. That's in case Germany declares war again, they can be in London with their hands up that much quicker. They're all angry. Why are they angry? Bloody French fishermen, French farmers saying these lack of subsidies are going to stop them earning a living, and they've taken to the streets. Well, they're too ugly to earn a living there either. Always angry. Why were they this angry in 1940 when it might have done a bit of good? I'm not being xenophobic. I'm not being racist. I used to go out with a French girl. She was half French. She was half French, half English. Weird girl, shaved under one arm. They're disgusting. Le Pétomane. Did you ever hear Le Pétomane? Only the French would have this. This man used to come out on stage, and with the bodily gases, he would do sound effects and play tunes with the wrong end of himself. And they'd still have him doing it today. If he was alive today, they'd have him on television advertising bubblegum. Took my wife to a French cafe in Paris, what was it, 5 years ago? Snooty, arrogant, expensive, very, very exclusive, you know, restaurant. The lobsters picked out the people. I couldn't believe it. And this French waiter eventually deigns to saunter over with the menu. I said, merci. He said, it's merci. I looked at the menu. I said, I'd like the crab toasted. He raised a glass of wine to my wife and said, your health, madame. I said, touche. He said, it's touché. I said, we'll have a bottle of the blanc de blanc. He said, it's blanc. It's blanc. Blanc de blanc. And he shrugged. In French. He brought me the credit card for the bill to pay. Signed the little slip. He said, how much shall I fill in for the tip? I said, leave it blanc. What's going to come through that Channel Tunnel? That's what I don't know. Drugs? I like the British police, though. They're having a nationwide anti-crack campaign, getting all the builders to pull their trousers up. Oh, jokes, jokes. There are such fine comedians here tonight. Is anyone over that side? I know there's 3 or 4 comedians in that area. I see one of my favourite gents, Richard Digance.
Hi, Bob.
You've moved to the countryside, Richard.
Yes, I've gone now, yeah. But you moved out as well, didn't you? I moved out for clay badger shooting.
Clay badger shooting. Yeah, I moved out to the country. Do you like it there?
Oh, yeah, away from the French.
I love it. I have a small... It's very, very... We live in a very small village. The road map is actual size. But I love it. It's very nice. It's very old-fashioned. We're a very tight community. Like, we don't go in for newfangled things like renting porno videos. Just once a week, someone just volunteers to leave the curtains open. I think we were the first strangers in the area when we moved out there 20 years ago. Must be nearly. Next year it will be 20 years. And I don't think they'd seen anybody for centuries. I remember the man next door coming around as a farmer, and he said, I'd like you to meet my wife and sister. And there was just one woman standing there. And you get characters, don't you, in the countryside, Richard? We've got a guy called Thumbs locally. He's called Thumbs because that's all he has. He has no fingers on his hands. Just has thumbs. So naturally, he's called Thumbs. People are very straightforward, not very sophisticated. We call him Thumbs because he's only got thumbs. Because he lost all the fingers off his left hand trying to get his fish paste sandwich out of a threshing machine. He took all the fingers off his left hand, and then he took all the fingers off his right hand, showing the farmer how he'd taken all the fingers off his left hand. And he would have taken the fingers to hospital and have them sewn back on, but he couldn't pick them up. So now he only has thumbs. He hardly plays the piccolo at all now. Well, he does, but it's awful. And he's taken up hitchhiking as a hobby, which is seems like a good idea, really. Except when the cars do pull over, he can't get the door open. Go on. These are not meaningful things. They're daft topics that we're on. Is there something deeper? Claire Rayner will take me deeper.
Oh, I don't know. I agree with my friend Stephen over here. He said you're a man of many talents, and so you are. Well, there are quite a lot of people who are doing what you do, what a lot of us do, because they had, shall we say, deprived childhoods, and they want the attention they never had when they were younger. Now, could that be you?
Yes. When I was a little baby, my mother tried to kill me. I'm sorry if that shocks you, but she did. She didn't admit it. She told the police she thought the plastic bag would keep me fresh. She didn't care for me. My father was kinder to me. My father used to take me to play in the park in a sort of Donald Duck hat and a little sailor suit. Why the man wore those clothes, I have no idea. Curious fellow, but I do remember with great affection certain things. I remember the first time my father took me for tea and biscuits. And I was so excited because I'd never given blood before. And he was basically, I was an irritating kid, but he was basically a very kind man. He only ever hit me, he hit me once. My father only ever hit me once. He used a Volvo, but he only ever hit me once. My mother came to the wedding, my first wedding, but everyone else threw rice. She was the only one using a catapult. Go for his eyes, she was shouting. My grandfather was a more important figure in my life. I used to sit in the house and I'd see my grandpa out on the porch with his back to me rocking in his rocking chair. Looking at the sunset and smoke curling up into the evening air. God knows what he was doing. He hadn't got a pipe. The answer is, I suppose, that I try to exorcise those devils with jokes like I just did. And a lot of comedians hide behind their jokes. What do actors hide behind? Do we have any questions from any actors here? Kevin Lloyd. Kevin Lloyd from The Bill.
Hiya. Yeah, I've got to go on. Can you tell me, I'm very interested to know, what makes you laugh?
Not who makes me laugh, what makes me laugh.
What makes you laugh, yes.
Certain jokes do. If I write a joke that has... If a joke is sharp and neat, it makes me laugh once, only once, the first time I think of it or write it. Then I laugh very much, and then I never laugh at it again. Example. 2 men are drowning in a lake, and you can only save one of them. And one is a lawyer, and the other is a politician. What are you going to do? Have a doze or go to the pictures? Some people don't even laugh once at that. Then there are jokes that actually nobody laughs at except me. They're like the runts of the litter. When you write jokes that are meant to make people laugh, and you do that, and every now and then you hit one that just is privately funny to you. Like the other day, it still makes me laugh. I imagined our local vet going into business with our local taxidermist under the slogan, either way, you get your dog back. But... oh, that went better than I thought it would. What actually makes you laugh? I think women make me laugh out of sheer joy. I love just being with and in the company of women. They just make me laugh out of the pleasure. I think I must be a lesbian trapped in a man's body. I turn to my left. Is there any questions coming in from Pauline?
Hello, Bob.
Hello, I didn't see you there by Linda before. How are you?
I'm very well. I don't mean to be rude, but you are getting on a little bit, aren't you?
I have a secret weapon.
I just wanted to know, at your age, do you still go in for sex?
I go out for it. No, I don't do that either. No, yes. The answer to that is thank you very much for asking, Pauline. I'm very happy to tell everybody that I'm still sexually active. Last year, my wife gave up sex for Lent, and I didn't find out till last Christmas. Bobby Davro.
Hello. Yes. Hello, Bob. You're knocking on a little bit with the greatest respect, and you're now a pensioner. How does that feel? To be old.
Well, Bobby.
And old. And grey.
Yes. No, you know I'm a fan of yours. You'll be remembered after Robin Williams has been forgotten. But not until then, Bobby. I must admit, age is beginning to tell on me. The signs of age are very apparent. When you find you've walked into a room and you can't remember why you went in there. And it's the toilet. And, of course, there's a certain decline in one's physical activity. A dancing girl said to me the other day after a show, she said, "Oh, she said, you only think of one thing." And then she had to tell me what it was. Men of my age, Bobby, when you get to 65, you begin to fantasize. I think a lot of men of my age fantasize about making love to 2 women at once. I fantasize about making love to 1 woman twice. I have tried to solve these problems as best I can. There are things I do to try and revive and revivify my love life. When I make love to my wife, I try to be modern. I like to have a mirror in the bedroom. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Stick it under her nose, see if she's still breathing. I really think it is a wife's duty, to a certain extent, to help sustain her husband's ego in these... I mean, to answer the phone, when the man is making love to you and the phone rings and she answers it, that's annoying enough. But when she says, "Oh, Tom, I was just thinking about you," I've become pathetic in bed. I've got to the point where I try and imagine that I'm somebody else. But it is a significant question, and I do take it seriously. And if I want to say something on behalf of all men who have reached their pension book age, it is this: that you don't have to give it up. You can still be active, and sex is not a spectator sport. It is a contact sport, and if you don't use it, you lose it. That's an old saying, and it's the truth. And I am very proud to say to you that I made love to my wife on a Saturday night. It's in the diary. I can't remember. Last year's diary. I could look it up. Last year. But it was last year because it was significant. It was on a Saturday night in March last year, and it meant something to me because my 65th birthday was just coming up. And that night I made love to my wife for 1 hour and 3 minutes, continuous. I'm not talking about wimpy, cuddling, kissing. I'm talking about ardent, passionate lovemaking for 63 minutes, which I think for a man of my age is remarkable. And it's not a joke. I just had to tell somebody about it. And it's the first chance I've had to tell anybody. But even as I tell you, I'm amazed myself at it. I mean, it's stunning. 63 minutes, my God. Well done, Bob. Good. God love us. God. I'm amazed you didn't applaud that. I really am surprised. Well, thank you. Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Some of you didn't applaud. All right, it was the night we put the clocks forward. But it still counts. It still counts. Ruth Maddock, you didn't put your hand up, except right at the beginning. Were you going to ask me something at the start?
Oh, there's a question I've been dying to ask you, Bob. A couple of weeks ago, I read that you'd like to walk around naked. Now, could you tell us why and when?
We'll make an appointment. I do it all the time. It's perfectly true. I've always had a tendency to take my clothes off every chance I get. I do it in hotel rooms. So I was in a hotel room last week, and I took all my clothes off and lay naked on the bed, and the chambermaid walked in. Finally. I've always been a little worried about stripping off in entertainment, although I was once exposed to public gaze and scorn on the Des O'Connor show. When Des had his show on BBC Two, I was a guest on it, and I had a brand new suit, much as I'm wearing tonight, and nothing's gone wrong, but on that occasion, I was sitting there on the banquette beside Des, and we were laughing and talking, and the zipper on my trousers opened all by itself. I heard nothing. Not what I mean, I felt nothing, but it opened by itself, and Des, typically generous, said, "Why don't you stand up and tell a few jokes, Bob?" So I did, not knowing my fly was open. I said, "Thank you." And I got up, I was doing this. And the audience is laughing, unexpectedly, you know, in the wrong places. There's a rule in show business, as every comic here knows, unexpected laughs, you check your fly, but I had forgotten that. And they were laughing. I didn't care about the laughs. It was the woman in the third row going, "Oh, bless him." And I thought I got hate mail, but I got fan mail from that. Now, what do you think of that? Only one letter, but it came from Playgirl magazine. You know, Playgirl magazine's like Playboy, but it shows nude men. And they wanted me... Well, they didn't actually offer. They just said, "We'd like to discuss... But we've got you on you're on our short list," was their expression. I don't know what that means. And they said, "Would you send us your audition picture? And you have to do this." Now, I don't know whether you've ever seen these pictures of guys in the... International stars do this. First time I ever saw it was a sort of centerfold that it was out of a Playgirl magazine, and it was Burt Reynolds. Totally full-frontal nude, which nearly stopped my heart. I was eating chips out of it at the time. Come on, my eyesight's gone. I can't pick this one up. Anyway. I thought, well, if he can do it, I can do it. So I said, "I'll send you an audition picture." And do you know how hard it is to get yourself photographed in the nuddy? It's terribly difficult. It really is hell. It's a very unpleasant experience. You're trying to balance on that little stool, hold the curtain shut, get those 10-penny coins into the slot. And the flash is going off. Well, we got a strip of pictures, quite nice. I wish I brought them with. We could have passed them around. You know, it's me, but it's tasteful. Hand discreetly placed here. Don't know whose it was, some fella passed. I've been back to that Woolworths 8 times. I can't find them. Do I have another question coming up anyway? Judy Spires, hello, darling. How nice to see you. You gave me lovely questions on Pebble Mill.
Thank you, Bob. I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice a bit here. Bob, your autobiography came out recently, and you were pretty honest about your sexual activities. And I just wonder, in the light of that, how can you ever expect your second wife to really trust you?
God, when your voice is as sexy and husky as that. I wonder if she can. My wife is Poirot. She is a forensic expert. I would never get away with any kind of adventure. I did have a lady in the car for no ulterior purpose, but I did have spent 45 minutes, 60 minutes, maybe an hour and a half with this girl in the car, and I was very afraid that my wife would find out. And I scrubbed that car. I mean, I went through that car. There was a fine-tooth comb wasn't in it. I made sure there wasn't anything, not a hair, not a strand, nothing. That car was clean. And my luck, I'm out driving 3 days later with my wife in the same car, and there's a heavy downpour of cold rain, and the windows mist up, and there they slowly appear, a footprint here. Anybody else over on your blog? Oh, I've got a choice of hands here. Gary Bushell of The Sun.
Hi, Bob.
How are you?
I'm fine. Look, everyone here knows you're one of the sharpest stand-up comedians in the country. You're proving it again tonight. I've seen you live. Your show's always bang up to date and topical. Why have you spent the last 20 years doing game shows? I mean, why aren't your TV shows funnier, your normal TV shows?
Wonderful. I love that bit. Well, I suppose I do quiz shows because it's easier to ask questions than to answer them, Gary, as you've just proved. But I have had so much fun on quiz shows. I really love them. I think one of my favourite shows of all time was Family Fortunes, which I presented for 4 seasons, because we got such marvellous... because people didn't understand what the game was about, the first series we did. And they really went into it, and the weirdest things used to come up, because you would have, for example, the Grand National we think was a good subject, so we'd ask people this question, thinking the Grand National would be the top answer. And then I would say, name... We asked 100 people to name the most dangerous race, and the guy said, Arabs! So we had to cut that out. had Lord Montague of Bewley and his family playing against Lord Bath on the other side, and it was hilarious. Because we asked, for example, the top answer, I think, was sparrow or starling. We said, name a bird you see in the garden. And he said, peacocks. I asked the Marchioness of Bath, I said, we asked 100 people, name a food you have to peel. She said, well, one doesn't do that, really. Always comes to the table, peeled. Oh, haggis. We had a family from Ireland, from Northern Ireland, called the Thick family. And I'm afraid that happened. There was laughter. The voiceover said, and from Belfast, the Thick family, and the audience laughed. So I had to stop the recording, and I said, please, ladies and gentlemen, you know, this is, we'll get awful letters from this, and these lovely people have come all this way from Ulster to be with us. Could you not laugh? Could you withhold your laughter? And we'll ask them to go again. And we went again, the Thick family, and nobody laughed. The audience was as good as gold. And I went, the guy came up, Liam, the head of the family, and we'd asked 100 people to name something blue. I think the top answer was sky. And he hit the thing, sky! So he said, right, would you play or pass? The mother now, worn-looking woman, hair the colour of smoked salmon in a catalogue dress, says, we'll play Liam, we'll play Liam, Liam! So I go over to her and I say, right. We asked 100 people, name something blue. She said, we've answered that one. So now I want to give it thinking time, so I explain all the rules again. We've gone out, we've asked 100 people this question, they've come up with top 6 answers are on the board. We want an answer other than the sky is blue. Another one, another answer. And I see comprehension dawn in her eyes, only faintly. So I hear it again. We asked 100 people to name something blue. Is it my cardigan? And I actually heard myself saying, let's see if it's up there. My favourite contestant of all time happened on the very first series of a game show, Gary, which was The Golden Shot. For those of you who have no recollection of The Golden Shot, it was a live show on Sunday afternoons about tea time, and it allowed people at home to affect events in the studio by shooting at a target. And it required phone calls that would come in, and people would see, it had to be live, because they had to see the transmitted picture, through a camera which was mounted on the crossbow looking at the target. And Bernie the Bolt was the armourer who would put the bolt in. He wore a blindfold, and he guided it according to the instructions he heard over the phone from the viewer. Now, we've been doing this for some time. They had to qualify to come on the show by exploding an apple in a pictorial target. And this is probably the 4th or 3rd contestant on this particular show. And I say, hello, who's calling The Golden Shot? We establish who he is. And I said, and you're calling us from Wolverhampton? And we'd very much know... now, Bob, not Wolverhampton, Bob. I think you've slipped up there. I'm not from Wolverhampton. I'm from Worgs. So I'm sorry, I didn't know I had you down as Wolverhampton. Well, you want to see your researches about that, Bob? Because I wouldn't live in Wolverhampton as such, but I live just outside in Worgs. I said, well, I don't know Worgs. Well, you take the A46 out of Wolverhampton. You're telling me more than I need to know, sir. What do you do for a living? Sir. Hello? Hello? Did you hear my question? Yes. I'm giving it some consideration because... You see, to answer you places me in a very awkward position, Bob, because it implies that I receive a living wage for what I do, and I don't consider that is the fact, you see. I understand, sir. Yes, of course, when I get my salary from the company cashier, he says, do you want it heads or tails? See, that's not very funny to a person who hasn't got much money, Bob. I think it's a very flippant remark, if I may say so. I think you lost a few funds with that joke, Bob. Well, so let's cut straight to the target, shall we? Your apple is on Isaac Newton's head, and you have 30 seconds in which to Bernie the Bolt, 30 seconds in which to hit it, starting now. Right a beat, right a beat, right a beat. Right a beat, right a beat. Stop the clock. Sir, you've gone way over to the right of the target. Oh, sorry, Bob. Start the clock. Lift a beat, lift a beat, lift a beat. Lift a beat, lift a beat. No, hold the clock again. You've gone way over to the left of the target now, so can you see the target all right? Hello? Can you see the target, sir? See, I told the man. What man is this, sir? Man from Rumbelows came and took the set back Wednesday. A man from the shop came and took your set away? Yes, oh, you got it in one, Bob. You mean you're sitting at home? A note of asperity entered my voice. 12 million people watching this. You're sitting at home trying to play this game without a television set. Don't get sarky, Bob. I notice you say sitting at home trying to play this game without a television set. I'm sorry. I'm in a phone box. Then you can't see a television set. No need to lose your rag, Bob. Or you can see 6 television sets, as a matter of fact, in the window of Curry's. I leave them on over the weekend, or I can see 6 of you. Right, can you see the target? No. Well, we're transmitting the target. You must be able to see it. No. Well, I'm waving. Can you see me? No. Oh, dear. I've left these sets tuned in to the BBC. Oh, never mind. Bugger it. Fire. Burning the bolt, reflex action, pulls the trigger, the bolt goes across the studio, hits the bloody apple, blows it up. And that's when I realised God writes funnier jokes than I do.
Mars are marvelous and loved by all the stars. Life is really marvelous with marvelous Mars. Good morning, sir. Why, it's Mr. Monkhouse.
Oh, you can call me Bob. Or even better, you can call me after 6 o'clock. You know what I'm here after, don't you?
I know, Mr. Monkhouse.
Yeah, you're right. I'm after your marvelous Mars bars. 2, please.
Something, Mr. Monkhouse?
Marvelous? They're marvelous with a capital M.
Yes, stars love Mars.
And they all of them are 3. Mars is marvelous, let's try one and see.
Mars is where I want to be at the moment. I got Advert of the Year award from Nestlé's Roundtrees and Cadbury's, I believe. Mandy Smith. Hello, Mandy.
Hi. Have you ever performed with any rock groups?
No, have you, Mandy? Mandy, I have never performed because you just don't book a comedian on the same bill. I did. I was with a rock group, years ago, with Comic Relief in America. Before Comic Relief came here, it was quite big in the States, only in California. It started there. And I was raked in to do part of the British contingent for it, along with Anthony Newley, and Joan Rivers got us involved. And I was in a dressing room with a rock group. I can't remember who they were. And we had no contact. I was in one side of the room doing my lines, and they were on the other side doing theirs. And and they took their clothes off and they walked around and they were naked. And I was puzzled because I don't know if they were Bon Jovi or something. They weren't Bon Jovi because none of them had a Jovi. There was that Bon. That's what puzzled me. I was meditating on the paradox that these guys go out in very tight jeans. This group wore very tight jeans. I mean, you could tell their religion. And women were whooping at their profiles, which were extremely dramatic. And here they're just ordinarily built young men. And then I saw them with a big roll of cotton wool, passing it around, Mandy, and they were pulling off, each of them took a big piece of cotton wool and they were rolling it into like a cylinder, like a tube. And I thought, they're not going to smoke that, surely. And they put it down their jeans, and they went out with these artificial, they were wearing falsies, and the girls were screaming at cotton wool, and they didn't know it. And I thought, if they can do it, I can do it. So I got the biggest piece of cotton wool you ever saw in your life. And I shoved it down my trousers, and I walked out, and I walked around, you know, and I got screams because nobody had told me you have to use a piece of sellotape to keep it in one place. The guy in the front row going, "Don't look, Myrtle, he's got a roving hernia." So I became aware at that stage, which was about 10 years ago, Mandy, I had the feeling that old age was creeping up on me, but you know what that's like. John Inman, how nice to see you, John.
Nice to see you, too. I want to get on to pantomime with you, because you played Buttons in Cinderella at the Palace, Manchester. Hugely successful. You played Aladdin in Aladdin at the London Coliseum, and then all of a sudden, poof.
I don't remember him, but...
No. happened after that? Why? Why haven't you?
Well, John, you're also sitting in front of one of the great pantomime stars, Ted Rogers, and I can't compete with people like you and him, not in pantomime. I never could relate to a pantomime audience. I really could. My kind of comedy never seemed to fit into me. I did enjoy that season, and the season at the London Coliseum was extraordinary. Soon I rather fancied the principal boy as soon as I found out she wasn't a boy and had no principles. She was very sophisticated, and I wasn't at that stage. It's a long time ago, John, you're remembering. And she invited me around to her flat, and she said to me, I've got mirrors on the ceiling and mirrors on the walls. She said, bring a bottle. So I took Winderline. Because I didn't know about that, but you do increase, apparently, one increases one's enjoyment if you have a mirror on the ceiling. So I thought, well, I'll get one, because I'll buy a mirror. Because budgies love them, don't they? Budgies love them. And, oh, yes, and if it works for me, I thought, I'll buy the little ladder, the bell, I don't care what I spend. And I got these expanded polystyrene tiles that are mirrored, and I thought I'll stick them on the ceiling in our bedroom. And I was going to surprise my wife, but then I had a booking to go up to Scotland, and I said to her, I can't wait to do this. Will you stick them on? Because she's quite handy at DIY. So I went up to Scotland, I got back, and I ran into the bedroom, and I looked up, and nothing there. There was no mirror there. And I looked down, she stuck them on the floor. She'd stuck them on the floor. It's not the same. It's not the same. It's one thing to lie on the bed naked and look up at yourself. Nothing sags, you look good. But when you're standing there nude, looking down... Well, it put me off Brussels sprouts for a fortnight. Somebody's raising a hand over there with the camera on him. I can't see who it... Oh, it's John Leslie. Hello, John.
Hi, Bob. You've talked a lot about sex tonight, but you haven't mentioned safe sex. What do you think about that?
I knew I could come to you for a wholesome question, John, with your Blue Peter traditions. Well, I remember, of course, when safe sex simply meant a padded headboard. But one of the great differences that every one of the older performers here would say they found is the fact that you can't say certain things today, and some things you couldn't say in the past, you can say today. And I can never quite believe it when I hear myself saying the word condom, because I would expect to be fined for saying it. I come from the variety tradition where if you use the word bloody on the stage, you were fined £1. And your £25 weekly salary suddenly became 24. Now I find condoms everywhere. I mean, the packet of 3 was the euphemism we used, something for the weekend. So really, I don't know, who invented the packet of 3, by the way? Is it any man here who's actually felt he needed 3 on a single occasion? I need 3. There have been times when I thought I might need 2, but not after I'd used the first one. Some countries talk about a packet of 4, you know, be one jump ahead, but I don't think this country has ever had anything but the packet of 3. And they are remarkable inventions, and now they're so commonplace that the supermarkets are going to stock them, as you may have read. Tesco's. I'm getting mine from Safeways. I don't know about you. And Marks and Spencer's and Wool. No, Marks and Spencer's are not going to stock them, because Marks and Spencer's can't stand the thought of all those customers coming back on a Monday morning going... Do you remember being a little boy and becoming a man? I'm talking mainly to the men. Do you remember being a little boy and you went upstairs, a little boy. You were a little boy when you went upstairs, and you came downstairs the next day a man. You'd become a man in the night as you lay sleeping in your little bed. The hairy fairy came. Woke up in the morning, the equipment had arrived. How am I going to smuggle this past Mummy? I remember the very first time I went to the chemist to buy myself a packet of 3 and protect the lady of my choice should she appear. I had 9D, old money, 9pence. And I'm a young man, I'm 13.5 years of age. I'm going to buy what is required for the woman of my choice. There was a woman serving, I bought a wisdom toothbrush, I left. Every time I went back to that chemist, I swear to God, throughout my adolescence, that bitch never had a day off. I was 17, I had 58 toothbrushes. I used to take girls behind the bushes and clean their teeth. You never let a girl see that you had a condom in those days. These days, they want to see it right away. You sure you got one? I've got one. No, you hid it, that little drawer in the bedside cabinet. And if you could get the lady upstairs into your bedroom, if you could get her into the bed, if you got that far, and you got her interested, you had to attend to this by yourself. You got it at that point, and then you turned away. And very discreetly and carefully, you opened that little drawer. In the darkness, you did the best you could. Kept it on with this hand. You slipped into whatever you could. I once made love to a girl in Swindon wearing an After 8 mint. She still writes. Dennis, you have a final question?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say, Bob, that you and I go back a long way.
I think you go back a little further than I do.
But down all those years, and with all your talents, there is one that has never ceased to amaze me, and that is your quite remarkable memory. Now, how far has this been put into the service of your career?
It's essential to what I do. I've always found it a tremendous asset, but it's not particularly difficult. All you need is a question, which you answer with the memory. For example, I wanted to try and memorize the celebrities in the audience here tonight, as I've been trying to do ever since I came out here, because I didn't know who would be here and who would not be here. And if you ask a question like, how do we get the title, An Audience with Bob Monkhouse, it's 5 words. Now, if you find 5 leading ladies in the audience who are here, and tie them into that, you can answer any kind of question. For example, the first word is Anne, which is the indefinite article, and also stands for the first name of Anne Aston, who has always been a very indefinite article. No, you always played it dumb, didn't you, Anne? Yes. And your real name is Lloyd. Yes. I remember that. That's the same as Kevin Lloyd from The Bill, who plays Tosh Lyons. That's your character's name, isn't it? Tosh Lyons. Yes. Perfect description in 2 words of my entire act. Tosh Lyons. We also have most of the Bill. The Bill I like to see most of is Bill Treacher, because his wife is played by Wendy Richard, who has a quirk about playing Pauline. Richard goes with Digance, and Richard Digance has just changed his homes, amen to that, which suggests amen homes, and the stars of GMTV, which stands for Give Me the Valium. And GMTV being a kind of wake-up call, and some people like to be knocked up and other people like to be phoned up. So if Barbara knocks, why is Linda Bellingham? But Linda spelled backwards is Adnil, and if you've Adnil, then you've gotten out, and quickly doth the glory of the world pass away, or sic Gloria transit mundi, which is on Monday. It's Latin for the phrase, on Monday, Gloria was sick in the van. Eating too much honey in the Ford. And a vintage Ford is a Zephyr, which rhymes with heifer, and a heifer is an unmarried cow. Let's see now. The only Miss Cow we have in the place is Nina Miskov. Nina always goes to the ball in pink. We have a Ball who was always in the pink in Michael Ball. And Michael Ball became a star in Aspects of Love, but where do you get your aspect, Michael? Well, if you bend down in a chicken run, you will get your aspect. And no offense, no offense. Offense is something that goes around a territory, or turf. Turf becomes peat, which is cheap fuel. I know about the low Pete Price, because Pete Price is sitting here, who is the DJ, star and comedian from Liverpool, where Doddy's Diddy Men come from. We have a Diddy man here, Diddy David Hamilton. Lady Hamilton fell in love with Nelson Mandela, did everything he could to reform the White Law. Billy Whitelaw, my first leading lady. I got my first leading lady in position. She played Mrs. Monkhouse. A Monkhouse is an Abbey. My daughter's name is Abby. She is my next leading lady. Abigail, it's short for Abigail. Take the Gale from Abbey. It is a powerful wind. The powerful wind was utilized by the aforementioned Le Petermain on stage in the exercise of his art. That's art with a capital F, you understand. And he had no pity for his audience. If you have no pity, you're ruthless. I am not ruthless tonight because I have Miss Maddock with me, who is my fourth leading lady. So, we had a quick cuddle, a QC, as we called it at the time. QC was also the letters that described Quite Contrary, was the television programme upon which Katie Boyle introduced me. So you see, to anyone whose name I've missed, apologies. It's quite a list, but as I said, 5 names are vital to help me explain this title. First, Abigail gives me an A, then Anne or Aston comes in play, a Whitelaw W comes third, a B for Boyle, and then my word, 5 letters from my happy past, the M for Maddock, coming last. for their initials, thanking them. That's AAWBM, an audience with thank you. Thank you very much.